Bikers, trouble fisherman's daughter, not knowing her father is a former Navy SEAL. A tranquil morning at her father's fishing dock took an unexpected turn into a nightmare. The roar of motorcycle engines disrupted the tranquility at Silver Bay Marina, and soon, Emily Carter would be enveloped by the most infamous gang across 3 states. The Steel Vipers had a reputation for their ruthlessness, and as their leader prowled around her like a hunter, she could sense her heart racing in her chest. Yet, what these men, cloaked in danger, failed to realize, what no one in the town could fathom, was that her seemingly ordinary father was on the brink of delivering a lesson so harsh, it would forever alter their lives. They believed Jack Carter was merely an ordinary fisherman from a small town. They observed his calloused hands, his serene smile, his unassuming presence. They believed he was feeble, a person they could manipulate, a figure whose daughter they could intimidate. They were on the brink of discovering just how mistaken they truly were. In just a few moments, the Steel Vipers would realize they had not merely targeted any ordinary fisherman's daughter. A Navy SEAL's daughter had been threatened, and a few errors. You only get one chance. Let's take a brief moment before we proceed. Share with us your location in the world from which you are tuning in. If you're captivated by these tales, don't forget to subscribe, as tomorrow's episode promises to be truly astonishing. The morning mist envelops the lake at Silver Bay Marina, where the soft rhythm of waves caressing the wooden docks composes a tranquil melody. Emily Carter finds herself at the brink of her father's time-worn fishing pier, her breath forming wisps in the brisk morning air. At 23, she navigates the docks with the assuredness of someone who has dedicated their whole life to this environment, meticulously inspecting gear and getting ready for another day of charter fishing adventures. The serene morning is disrupted by the distant roar of motorcycles reverberating over the water. Emily's hand halts on the rope she's winding, her gaze captivated by the path that stretches toward the marina. The noise intensifies, becoming increasingly ominous with every fleeting moment. The Steel Vipers emerge as shadowy figures amidst the morning mist, their chrome bikes shimmering in the glow of the dawn. 5 riders, their leather jackets embellished with patches that tell tales of dominance and conflict, roll into the marina's gravel parking lot. Their leader, Lawson, silences his engine first, the abrupt stillness more menacing than the thunderous noise that came before. Emily's grip on the rope intensifies, her knuckles turning pale with strain. She has come across tales of the Steel Vipers, hushed cautions exchanged in neighborhood diners regarding their notorious reputation for brutality and fear-mongering. However, they had never arrived at Silver Bay Marina until today. Vince steps off his bike with a smooth confidence, the gravel crunching beneath his boots. Ugh, what do we have in front of us? His voice resonates throughout the marina, laced with a playful sense of inquiry. It seems a young one is having fun with her boats. Emily persists in her efforts, striving to convey a serenity that eludes her grasp. The deliberate act of coiling the rope provides her with a distraction from the sound of the footsteps drawing near. This is a private charter business, she states, her voice unwavering even as anxiety twists within her gut. If you don't have a reservation, I must kindly request that you exit. The laughter of the bikers resonates, filling the stillness of the deserted marina. Vince moves in, intentionally encroaching on her personal space. His trusted companion, Marcus, stands by his side as the others fan out, forming a loose circle around Emily. Is there a reservation? Vince's lips twist into a sly grin. Darling, the Steel Vipers operate without the need for reservations. We travel freely, choosing our destinations and timing at will. Within the confines of the Harborview office, Mike Henderson gazes out the window, his weathered visage etched with worry. His hand extends toward the phone, fingers quivering ever so slightly as he inputs a number etched in his memory. On the serene lake, Jack Carter is guiding a young family through the intricacies of bass fishing when he feels his phone vibrate in his pocket. Something in Mike's voice compels him to pull in his line without hesitation. Is everything all right at the dock, Mike? Dan, you need to return immediately. The Steel Vipers have just arrived, and they're surrounding Emily like predators on the hunt. Jack's jaw clenches, yet his tone stays composed. I'll be there shortly. He faces his clients, offering a smile that conveys regret. Everyone, we need to wrap up this morning's lesson a bit earlier than planned. Urgent family matter. At the dock, Vince has edged even nearer to Emily. He extends his hand, tracing a finger over the twisted rope she holds. Beautiful knots. Your father taught you that. He must feel a deep sense of pride watching his daughter continue the family legacy. Emily retreats, her posture poised and upright. I express that it's time for you to go. Marcus's laughter rings out, cutting through the air with a harsh edge. Oh, she has a lively essence, Vince. I appreciate that. It adds an element of excitement when they push back a bit, another biker remarks, stepping in to obstruct Emily's route to the Harbor View office. Vince's smile diminishes a bit. We've been contemplating the idea of broadening our horizons. Silver Bay Marina appears to be a charming little place, tranquil, serene. He surveys the marina with an air of feigned fascination. Isn't this the ideal spot for a new clubhouse? Emily's heart pounds, yet she maintains a steady tone. This area is restricted to unauthorized individuals. You are encroaching on private property. Infringing upon someone else's property? Vince tilts his head back and lets out a hearty laugh. Gentlemen, do you hear that? A young girl believes she has dominion over these docks. His expression grows somber. Allow me to clarify something for you, dear. Is everything present here? It is claimed by those who possess the strength to seize it. He extends his hand toward the rope in Emily's grasp, yet she maintains her grip resolutely. For a fleeting instant, they find themselves entwined in a quiet clash of determination, each refusing to yield. I would advise against that if I were in your position. Emily cautions, her voice quivering just a bit. Vince's hold intensifies. What could be the reason for that? Is your father going to come to your rescue? His voice descends into a threatening murmur. Where is father exactly? Outsmarting fisherman while his young daughter confronts the daunting world by herself. The other riders draw near, the sound of their leather jackets whispering with each step they take. The morning sun glimmers on the patches that declare, Steel Vipers MC, and No Mercy, intricately stitched into the aged leather. Perhaps we ought to linger a bit longer, Marcus proposes, his gaze fixed intently on Emily. Demonstrate to her the true essence of leadership in business. Emily's thoughts swirl with intensity. Her father is out on the lake, likely making his way back due to Mike's call, yet she remains uncertain about how long his return will take. She must find a way to stall, preventing the situation from intensifying. The sheriff conducts frequent patrols in this area, she states, attempting to instill a sense of assurance in her tone. He should arrive any moment now. Vince's grin broadens. Absolutely not. We passed your local law enforcement about 10 miles back. It appeared he was managing a serious accident on the highway, which could take hours to resolve. He lets go of the rope abruptly, making Emily lose her balance and stagger backward. Time stretches endlessly before us. The bikers chuckle once more, yet this time an unsettling undertone lingers in the air. Emily casts her eyes toward the Harbor View office, spotting Mike on the phone, his expression drained of color, revealing his worry. This is it, Emily declares, her posture firm and resolute. Depart at once, or what will happen? Vince advances, looming above her. Are you really going to challenge us, you, and what force, little girl? The distant growl of a boat engine slices through the thick atmosphere of anticipation. Emily experiences a wave of relief in her chest, recognizing that sound instantly. The charter boat belonging to her father is making its way back to the dock. Vince tilts his head ever so slightly at the noise, yet remains steadfast, not retreating. It seems that father is on his way back. Excellent. Perhaps he could enlighten us on the art of fishing. His voice oozes with irony. I have always aspired to gain insights from a true expert. The morning sun pierces the fog as Jack Carter vessel nears the dock. From her vantage point, Emily observes her father's well-known silhouette at the helm, his actions steady and purposeful as he navigates the ship back to shore. What the Steel Vipers fail to perceive, what remains beyond their grasp, is how Jack's eyes meticulously survey the scene, absorbing every nuance with the sharpness of someone seasoned by years of battle. They remain oblivious to the fact that he is meticulously observing their stances, scrutinizing the angles, and pinpointing potential dangers. They perceive only what aligns with their desires. A humble fisherman makes his way back to port, oblivious to the impending lesson on the consequences of endangering a Navy SEAL's daughter. The engine of the boat falls silent, creating a palpable stillness that envelops the marina. Vince swivels to face Emily, a smirk playing on his lips, exuding both malice and assurance. The true excitement starts now. With practiced ease, Jack Carter maneuvers his boat toward the dock, each movement deliberate and controlled. His weathered face reveals nothing of the intricate calculations swirling in his mind as he absorbs the scene laid out before him. The 5 bikers formed a relaxed semicircle around Emily, their leather jackets glinting in the morning sun, patches boldly declaring their loyalty to the Steel Viper's MC. With swift and efficient motions, he ties off the boat, each movement executed with precision. The young family, whom he had been guiding in the art of fishing, huddled anxiously at the stern, acutely aware of the palpable tension surrounding them. "Head straight to your car," Jack instructs them softly, his tone steady yet firm, leaving no room for dissent. "Keep moving forward, avoid distractions." The family rushes by the bikers, the father keeping his children close as they navigate towards the parking lot. Vince observes their departure with a clear sense of amusement before shifting his focus to Jack. "Well, if it isn't dear old Dad," Vince calls out, his voice echoing across the dock. Perfectly timed for the celebration. Jack strides onto the dock, his boots thudding against the wooden planks. He advances with a calm demeanor, every step calculated and intentional. To the bikers, he appears as just another middle-aged fisherman, clad in weathered jeans and a faded flannel shirt with years of sun etched into his face. They remain oblivious to the fact that he has meticulously charted every conceivable angle of approach, every possible weapon within his grasp. "Emily," Jack states, his tone unwavering. "Is everything all right here?" Before Emily has a chance to respond, Vince interjects. "We have been nurturing your daughter, guiding her in understanding respect and the intricacies of the real world." Jack maintains his calculated demeanor, halting at an exact distance from the gathering. "Is that correct?" His tone stays casual, yet there's a glint in his eyes that causes Marcus to feel a sense of discomfort. "Dad," Emily begins, but Vince interrupts her once more. "You know, we were just talking about potential ventures," Vince says, gesturing expansively. "This marina possesses a wealth of possibilities, an abundance of promise. Perhaps a change in leadership is in order." Jack's demeanor remains unchanged, yet an intangible shift stirs in the atmosphere. "Understood. So, are you stepping into the role of management now?" Vince's grin broadens. "Intelligent individual. Observe, that's the way things operate. Those with strength seize what they desire. The frail either adapt to their circumstances or cease to exist within them. The decision is theirs." "That's a thought-provoking perspective," Jack responds, maintaining a serene tone. "Do you have considerable experience with that?" A towering figure among the bikers, adorned with a patch on his Morgan, strides forward with purpose. "Are you making fun of us, old man?" Jack responds with a straightforward, "No." Engaging in a dialogue, seeking to grasp your perspective, he redirects his focus to Vince. "What exactly do you have in mind?" Vince chuckles, yet there's a sharpness to it now. The old fisherman's calmness is beginning to irritate him. "Putting forth a proposal? I'm not suggesting anything. Let me share my vision for what lies ahead. Is this marina? This is now the domain of the Steel Viper. Do you intend to continue operating your small fishing excursions? You provide us with security payments, looking to ensure your lovely daughter's safety. We require a higher payment from you." Emily begins to voice her objections, but Jack lifts his hand just a fraction, a movement so understated that the bikers remain oblivious to it. However, Emily becomes quiet at once, understanding the cue from years spent collaborating with her father. "Protection," Jack muses, his mind swirling with contemplation. "From where?" Marcus sneers, advancing toward Emily. "It would be unfortunate if anything were to occur with your vessels or your companion." Jack's gaze follows Marcus as he moves, observing how the biker's hand hovers close to his belt, the shape of a knife subtly outlined beneath his cut. The other bikers are subtly fanning out, instinctively shifting into positions of readiness. "You're making threats against my daughter," Jack states, his tone remaining casual. "It is not a question." "Intimidating?" Vince adopts a look of innocence. "Absolutely, just laying out the realities of existence." Only the strong endure, while the weak falter. Indeed, they come to understand their role. Jack gives a slow nod. I comprehend. Do you truly see yourselves as strong? There's a subtle shift in his tone that causes Vince to hesitate, yet the biker leader masks it with a hearty laugh. Take a moment to observe your surroundings, Elder. 5 against 1. Your daughter is lovely, but her beauty isn't the main focus. Math isn't really that difficult, is it? Numbers can mislead, Jack responds calmly. Morgan advances another step, the sound of his knuckles cracking echoing in the air. There's nothing misleading about an aging veteran. Dad, Emily repeats, her voice laced with worry. She has witnessed her father in a state of tranquility before, yet this feels entirely unique. This is the serene moment that precedes the tempest. It's all right, Emily. Jack promises her, his gaze fixed firmly on Vince. These individuals are on the verge of discovering a significant truth about resilience. The initial amusement on Vince's face slowly gives way to a growing sense of irritation. The old man's unwavering composure is beginning to come across as a lack of respect. The only lesson being taught here is about you, old man. This is your final opportunity. Are you looking to take the simpler route with this? Are we allowing your daughter to witness her father being defeated up close? With a deliberate motion, Jack advances a single step. The motion flows effortlessly, with such precision, that Vince instinctively steps back slightly before regaining his composure. Allow me to clarify. Jack speaks, his voice lowering just a touch. You visited my marina, you made a threat against my daughter. You're discussing the act of claiming something that doesn't belong to you. Your response indicates a lack of comprehension regarding the essence of true strength. Is that correct? Vince's hand glides to his back where a weighty chain rests, coiled at his belt. Why not enlighten us instead? Jack's gaze follows the motion, yet his face reveals no change. Are you certain that's your choice? The cost of education can be quite high. Crafting and shaping this narrative required a significant investment of our time. If you're finding it enjoyable, consider subscribing to our channel. It holds great significance for us. Let us return to the narrative. The atmosphere grows increasingly charged. Even the morning birds have ceased their songs, as though the very essence of nature is pausing in anticipation. Emily observes her father, noting the subtle shifts in his posture that the bikers overlook. The slight change in his weight, and the way his hands rest loosely yet poised at his sides. Vince's patience finally snaps as he snarls, "You've got a smart mouth for an old man. Perhaps we should consider closing it for good." He gives a nod to Morgan and Marcus, signaling them to advance. Jack stands his ground, keeps his hands at his sides, and reveals no hint of trepidation. He remains motionless, biding his time. "This is your final opportunity," Jack murmurs softly. "Leave now, and we can pretend this never took place." Vince releases the chain from his belt, allowing it to hang freely. "Oh, we've long moved beyond the point of turning back, old man. Far beyond that." The morning sun pierces the clouds, creating stark contrasts of light and shadow on the dock. At that instant, as the bikers brace themselves for what's to come, Emily notices a shift in her father's gaze. The tranquility remains, yet now there's an undercurrent, a whisper of struggles endured and victories claimed in distant realms, far removed from this serene harbor. The steel vipers are on the brink of discovering the depths of the waters and the truth that the most silent hunters can be the most perilous. Morgan lunges forward, his imposing figure barreling toward Jack, exuding the self-assurance of a seasoned champion. His fist slices through the morning air, targeting the older man's jaw, yet strikes only at the empty haze. Jack's motion is so understated, so precise, that it takes Morgan a whole second to comprehend that he's failed to connect. What on earth? Morgan mumbles under his breath, swaying a bit as his forward motion propels him onward. Vince observes, his chain dangling loosely in his hand as his enforcer steadies himself once more. There's an unsettling feeling in the air. The aged fisherman ought not to have been capable of such swift movement. Experiencing difficulties? Jack inquires softly, maintaining his casual stance, as if the events had not transpired at all. With a fierce growl, Morgan unleashes another onslaught, delivering a flurry of punches that could easily incapacitate an ordinary opponent. Yet Jack remains absent for all of them, each movement carrying him mere inches from danger, showcasing an efficiency that reflects years of disciplined practice. Remain in place, Elder. Morgan's irritation erupts as he lashes out with reckless abandon. What is the reason? Jack's voice stays steady. It appears you are managing quite well by yourself. Marcus advances, drawing his knife with determination. The blade glimmers in the early light as he deftly flicks it open. Let's see you twirl around this, Pops. Emily moves ahead, yet Jack's voice halts her. Remain right there, darling. All is well managed. Vince chuckles, yet a hint of doubt lingers in his laughter. Regulate? You're outnumbered, veteran. Now you have steel to contend with. Figures, Jack murmurs gently. They hold little value if you're unaware of how to utilize them. With a swift motion, Marcus thrusts the knife forward as Morgan approaches from the opposite direction. It ought to have been an impeccable snare. In a seamless motion, Jack interposes himself, and in an instant, Morgan finds himself sprawled on the dock, his own force turned against him, while Marcus stumbles backward, his knife hand contorted at an uncomfortable angle. What on earth? Marcus begins to speak, but his voice falters, caught in a sharp intake of breath as Jack tightens his grip on his wrist ever so slightly. Language, Jack admonishes softly. The gift for my daughter. The knife clatters against the dock, and Jack gives Marcus a slight shove, causing him to stumble backward into Vince. The leader of the gang must move swiftly to evade being toppled, his chains flailing about recklessly. May I ask who you are? Vince insists, a hint of uncertainty creeping into his previously unwavering demeanor. Just a fisherman, Jack responds with a calm demeanor. As I mentioned, figures can be misleading. The other two bikers, who had been lingering in the background, now advance with hesitation. No one has ever witnessed someone manage Morgan and Marcus with such ease, particularly not a weathered old fisherman. Boss, one of them says with uncertainty. Something feels off here. Vince's expression shifts, clouded by fury. Be quiet. He's merely an elderly gentleman. Bring him along. They surge ahead in unison, yet Jack glides like a stream, weaving effortlessly through their strikes. One biker swings a punch that Jack deftly redirects, allowing the force to propel his assailant right into his ally. They crash together with a grunt, tripping over one another. Emily observes from the sidelines, her heart pounding, yet her fear is now intertwined with a new feeling. Confidence. She has never witnessed her father in a battle before. I had no idea this aspect of him was there. Yet, here he stands, managing 5 perilous individuals with the same steady finesse he employs to steer through tumultuous seas. Father? She cries out, as Morgan fights to rise to his feet once more. Look out behind you. Yet Jack is already in motion, sidestepping as Morgan's frenzied rush propels him directly into one of the wooden posts at the dock. The sharp crack of bone against timber reverberates through the marina, and Morgan collapses like a heavy weight. Is there anyone else? Jack inquires, maintaining that familiar conversational tone. Vince's grip tightens around his chain. What type of angler do you consider yourself? The type that offers you a final opportunity to walk away. Jack responds, bring your friend along. He gives a nod toward Morgan's unconscious form and departs. Before we delve deeper into this matter, Vince's laugh carries a hint of hysteria these days. Do you really believe this is just a game? No, Jack replies, his voice lowering just a touch. It seems you are embarking on a path of progressively questionable choices. Are you interested in creating another one? Marcus has gotten back on his feet, massaging his wrist and shooting a fierce look at Jack. Boss, this individual, he's quite unusual. Enough already, Vince retorts sharply. Everyone sees him at once. The few aware bikers exchange glances filled with doubt. Their previous assurance has dissipated in light of Jack's unfathomable talent. Even Vince appears to have some doubts. His chain was now gripped protectively instead of being wielded as a weapon. I can do this all day, Jack says with a steady demeanor. However, I have charters booked scheduled for this afternoon, and I would really dislike letting my clients down. Do you really believe this has come to an end? Vince asserts his authority, yet he retreats slightly. Do you really believe you can humiliate the Steel Vipers and simply stroll off unscathed? I believe, Jack responds, that you sought out easy prey and discovered something completely different. The inquiry is, do you possess the intelligence to glean insights from the experience? Vince's expression twists in fury. With a fierce growl, he unleashes the chain in a lethal sweep aimed at Jack's skull. The metal cuts through the air with a sharp whistle, and in an instant, Danny has vanished. The force of the chain sends Vince reeling, and in an instant, he's tumbling down. The world whirls around him as Jack harnesses his own weight and momentum to his advantage. Vince strikes the dock with force, the chain rattling as it skitters across the wooden boards. He gazes upward to see Jack looming above him, maintaining that ever-present serene demeanor. Now, Jack speaks softly about the education you desired. The morning sun has fully ascended, dispelling the remnants of the mist with its warm glow. In its clear light, the Steel Viper's fearsome reputation appears to be dissipating rapidly, revealing them for what they truly are, bullies who have finally chosen the wrong target. And Jack Carter, the unassuming fisherman they had so greatly misjudged, is on the verge of showing them precisely why that was a grave error. Vince pushes himself up, his leather jacket marked by dust from the tumble, the bravado he once displayed now giving way to a palpable sense of fear. The nonchalant manner in which Jack managed his assaults has unsettled him more than he is willing to acknowledge. "You've received training," Vince asserts, taking a small step back. "Armed forces?" Jack's demeanor remains unchanged, yet a subtle spark ignites in his gaze. "Is it significant, Supervisor?" Marcus shouts, wincing as he cradles his injured wrist. "I've encountered maneuvers like that previously. My cousin served in Force Recon. This is not merely an arbitrary exercise." Emily observes the dawning understanding reflected in the expressions of the bikers. She's always been aware of her father's history, but witnessing him in action offers a stark contrast to merely hearing the tales. The serene, composed figure who guided her in tying fishing knots and interpreting weather patterns remains, yet she is now uncovering the fierce spirit hidden beneath. Navy SEAL. Jack speaks softly, his words echoing across the now hushed dock. 15 years. Now in retirement, yet certain memories linger on. Vince's complexion drains of color. "SEAL? This clarifies why you all remain aware." Jack keeps the conversation flowing. "If I desired to inflict pain upon you, you would feel it. Rather, I aim to impart a lesson on the importance of respect." The youngest of the bikers begins to move closer to his motorcycle. "Supervisor? Perhaps we ought to consider that." Not a soul stirs. Vince erupts, his voice quivering just a bit. "We are the Steel Vipers. We stand our ground." Jack sighs softly. "One day your pride will lead to your downfall. Today is bound to bring you some embarrassment." Morgan lets out a low groan from his spot on the dock, slowly coming back to awareness. He drops to his knees, shaking his head to dispel the fog. "What is happening? What transpired?" "Your superior is on the verge of making yet another error." Jack speaks to him in a composed manner. "You may want to brace yourself for what's coming next." Vince's hand shifts to his back, and Emily catches sight of a metallic gleam. "Bother?" However, Jack has already made his move. Before the gun Vince was reaching for can clear his waistband, Jack swiftly closes the distance between them. His movements are deliberate and efficient, honed through years of battle experience. Vince inhales sharply, his arm wrenched behind him, the gun slipping from his grasp and clattering onto the dock. "That," Jack asserts, his tone sharpening for the first time, "was your gravest error to date." With a deft twist and a sweeping motion of his leg, Jack sends Vince tumbling once more. The weapon slides across the dock, coming to a halt at Emily's feet. She lifts it gently, cradling it as if it could snap at any moment. 15 years as a SEAL, Jack reflects, his gaze fixed on Vince. "Do you understand what that implies?" "It signifies that my understanding of combat far surpasses anything you could ever grasp. It signifies that I've encountered dangers that would leave you trembling. Threatening my daughter was undoubtedly the most foolish decision you've ever made." Marcus steps forward with hesitation. "We were unaware." "That is precisely the point," Jack interrupts him. "One can never be certain. You roll into town, flaunting your presence, believing you're the top contender in the game. Yet, there's always a hidden layer lurking in the shadows. Something that has encountered genuine conflict, confronted true adversaries." He pivots to face them all, his voice resonating with authority. "I have battled in locations unknown to you, facing foes beyond your wildest dreams. Do you really believe you're formidable just because you can scare off fishermen and shopkeepers?" Consider confronting real terrorists. Attempt to navigate treacherous waters while being pursued by bullets that follow your every move. The bikers remain motionless, their previous confidence utterly vanished. Even Vince stays grounded, no longer making an effort to rise. But do you realize what truly sets us apart? Jack persists. I have nothing to prove. I don't have to parade around scaring others to feel powerful. True power? True strength lies in the wisdom of choosing your battles wisely. Emily observes her father, perceiving him from a fresh perspective. Throughout all these years, she had been aware of his service, yet she had never fully grasped its significance. As she observes him deftly manage 5 perilous individuals with meticulous skill, she starts to understand the extent of his expertise. So this is how it's going to unfold, Jack states, his tone steady, yet imbued with a clear sense of command. You'll mount your bikes, pedal away from Silver Bay Marina, and this moment will linger in your mind whenever you consider disturbing those who seek tranquility. Vince struggles to rise to his knees, his expression a tumult of emotions, fear, anger, and humiliation etched across his face. Do you really believe this is the end? That hinges on your decision, Jack responds. I can continue to illustrate the flaws in this idea, or you can choose wisely and step back. The decision is yours. However, I must caution you, I have the entire day ahead of me. As of now, I haven't even begun to make an effort. Morgan, still dazed from his run-in with a dock post, wobbles to his feet. Boss, he has a point. We ought to leave. Be quiet, Vince growls, yet there's a wavering uncertainty in his tone. No, you be quiet, Marcus interjects, catching everyone off guard. We arrived seeking quick cash, not a showdown with a pesky seal. I'm done. The younger bikers exchange knowing glances, instinctively moving closer to their motorcycles. Vince stands alone in his defiance, yet he remains unmoving on his knees. Jack observes them with the calm endurance of someone who has weathered far more prolonged battles. Pride is an amusing concept, he murmurs gently. At this moment, it urges you to persist in your struggle. Yet, insight is urging you to recognize when to walk away. The morning sun ascends, dispelling the final remnants of the mist. In its bright illumination, the Steel Viper's daunting reputation appears to be fading rapidly, revealing them for what they truly are. Bullies who have finally encountered someone they cannot intimidate. And Jack Carter, the understated fisherman they had so greatly misjudged, still has lessons to impart about true strength. Vince stays on his knees, the weight of his collapsing world pressing down as his crew starts to fracture. Marcus has begun his stride toward his bike, with the younger members trailing behind him. Only Morgan stands by his leader, yet the doubt is unmistakably etched on his features. As you turn to leave, Vince shouts after his departing men. You're done, do you understand? Gone for good. Jack's voice slices through the atmosphere of unease. Sounds like a promotion to me. Marcus pauses, turning back. What does that imply? It indicates that you have an option, Jack responds with composure. Remain with a person willing to sacrifice you for their ego, or choose to leave and embrace your independence. Some leaders safeguard their people, while others exploit them as barriers. Vince struggles to his feet, his face red with rage and humiliation. Your understanding of leadership is quite limited. 3 tours as team leader in active combat zones, Jack states softly. I possess a deeper understanding than you might assume. Do you want to hear what else I know? A true leader prioritizes the well-being of their team over personal pride. Emily observes the younger bikers sharing fleeting looks. She observes the effect of her father's words, noticing how they resonate with men who may have never reflected on their decisions before. They simply harbor fear. Vince delivers his lines with intensity. Fearful of a single elderly gentleman? No. Jack clarifies. They're demonstrating cleverness, an approach you might consider adopting. He pivots to speak directly to the fellow bikers. Do you all have training or not? Armed forces? Marcus gives a slow nod. The majority of us. Exited, lost in the struggle to return to everyday existence, the gathering place. It provided us with something. Framework. Intent. Unity. Jack's voice resonates with comprehension now. Yet this does not embody brotherhood. This is harassment. You are capable of so much more. The Morgan advances with determination. His once massive frame now appears diminished. I was in the army, 2 deployments in Afghanistan. Exited. Experienced a sense of disorientation. I believed the club would restore what I had lost. So, did it happen? Negative. Morgan confesses softly. It has transformed me into something I never wished to become. Vince's expression twists in anger. Backstabbers. Each and every one of you. They are not turning against you. Jack conveys this to him. They are rediscovering their true selves. Motorcyclists. Individuals who once embodied ideals beyond instilling fear in local communities. Emily notices the glimmer of tears in Morgan's eyes now. A crack forming in his hardened facade. The remaining riders have halted their approach to their motorcycles, enveloped by the weight of the present. Do you have any idea what I perceive when I gaze upon you? Jack proceeds. I observe individuals dedicated to serving their nation, who truly understands the essence of brotherhood, genuine intention, and at some point during the journey, you've misplaced it, initiated a connection with someone who never grasped the true significance of that action. Marcus completely pivots now. His expression was one of concern. We simply, upon exiting, everything seemed off. Everything seemed surreal. I understand. Jack speaks in a gentle tone. I assure you I understand. When I initially stepped into the world, I felt adrift as well. It took me quite a while to navigate my way back. To recognize that the power we gained through service is not meant for subjugating others, but rather for safeguarding them. Vince makes an attempt to reach for his gun, which remains firmly grasped by Emily. Yet Jack's piercing gaze immobilizes him. Refrain. Jack offers a subtle caution. Today has seen its fair share of errors. Emily advances with purpose, deliberately maintaining the firearm directed towards the earth. Dad, what do you think I should do with this? Unload it, Jack commands. Exactly as I showed you. She executes it with a skillful grace, eliciting astonished glances from the bikers. The magazine lands softly in her hand, and she inspects the chamber with meticulous accuracy. You taught your daughter to handle weapons? Marcus inquires. Jack clarifies that he taught her to show them respect. There exists a distinction. There's a clear distinction between true strength and the behavior of a bully. The morning has become more inviting, with the sun climbing higher and casting shorter shadows over the dock. In its radiant glow, the transformations in the bikers' expressions are unmistakable. Shame, recognition, and the gradual emergence of understanding. Jack assures them that the opportunity is still within reach. Anyone among you, the individuals you once were, the brave soldiers, the fierce warriors, the steadfast protectors, remain within you. They simply slipped your mind for a moment. Morgan scrubs at his eyes with the back of his hand. What should we do now? Where are we meant to head to? Begin by recalling your true self, Jack suggests. Programs exist for veterans, individuals who truly grasp your experiences, individuals who can assist you in navigating your path home. Vince propels himself forward with sudden intensity. With a deft maneuver, Jack evades the gang leader, allowing the force of his advance to propel him forward. With a seamless movement, he sweeps Vince's legs from beneath him, forcing him face down onto the dock. Jack lets out a sigh, still not having learned. It seems that certain lessons require more time to fully grasp. The remaining bikers stand idle, offering no assistance to their leader. They observe with a blend of discomfort and solace, as though they are seeing the conclusion of a chapter that was overdue for closure. It wasn't merely a decision for the present, Jack says softly to the man who is restrained. Each day, you guided these men astray, diminishing their potential with every choice you made. In the distance, the haunting wail of police sirens pierces the air. It seems that Mike Henderson indeed made the call to them. Emily catches sight of the younger bikers' tents, poised for a hasty retreat, but her father's voice halts their escape. Stay, he commands, and the power in his voice causes them to halt in their tracks. Confront this. Begin to embrace more thoughtful decisions. That's the duty of soldiers. The morning breeze brings with it the fragrance of lake water and pine, evoking memories of the tranquility that reigned before the arrival of the steel serpents. Yet as the sirens draw nearer, an alternative presence lingers. A whisper of redemption, a chance to discover a more promising way forward. For many of the men on that dock, it seems like the first genuine sensation they've experienced in years. Two police cruisers glide into the marina parking lot, their lights flickering in the bright morning sun. Sheriff Wilson emerges first, his hand poised carefully on his holster. From the second vehicle, Deputy Martinez steps out, his expression revealing clear astonishment as he surveys the unfolding scene. Jack keeps his grip on Vince while speaking to the approaching officers with a composed demeanor. "Good morning, Tom. Everything is managed effectively." Sheriff Wilson surveys the disarray of bikers, the battered visage of Morgan, and Marcus's inflamed wrist. His eyebrows arch ever so slightly. "It seems we overlooked an incredible gathering, Dan. It was merely a miscommunication regarding the management of the marina." Jack responds with a gentle tone. The gentlemen found themselves perplexed regarding the ownership of the property. Vince finds himself ensnared by Jack's grip. "This constitutes an act of aggression. I demand his arrest." Humorous. Sheriff Wilson's sketches. Mike Henderson's call refers to armed suspects posing a threat to his tenants. Mention that a firearm was drawn as well. Emily advances, delicately presenting the unloaded firearm with the magazine set apart. "Here, Sheriff, this is what he attempted to employ against my father." Deputy Martinez approaches to secure the weapon, his keen observation catching the skilled manner in which Emily manages it. "Are you familiar with firearms, miss?" She states plainly that her father taught her about respect, responsibility, and the moments to refrain from applying them. The sheriff surveys the remaining bikers who stand still, resisting the urge to dash for their motorcycles despite the clear temptation to escape. He observes the vipers, taking note of their markings. "You lads have ventured quite far from your familiar grounds." Marcus advances, his disciplined demeanor evident even beneath his rugged biker exterior. "We would like to present ourselves willingly, sir." Vince's gaze shoots upward. "Excuse me? Is that not possible?" "Be quiet, Vince." The Morgan rumbled, positioning itself alongside Marcus. "We've reached the end of our journey down this path." Sheriff Wilson observes the two men with careful consideration. "Yielding, is it? This isn't typically how these scenarios unfold." "No, sir." Marcus concurs, "but we've gained some clarity along the way." He adds, casting a glance at Jack, in a figurative sense. Jack relinquishes his grip on Vince, retreating gracefully as Deputy Martinez approaches with handcuffs in hand. "These individuals have served, Tom. They wandered off course for a while, yet I believe they are prepared to rediscover their path." The sheriff's demeanor shifts, revealing a hint of warmth. His personal experience in the Gulf War gives him a unique insight into the challenges faced by veterans. Is that correct? Morgan straightens his spine, instinctively adopting a disciplined posture. "Affirmative, sir." 10th Mountain Division Army. Wandered off course after stepping out, yet, indeed. Mr. Collins assisted us in recalling some significant details. Sheriff Wilson nods toward Jack, acknowledging his background as a Navy SEAL. He possesses a unique ability to ensure that lessons resonate and remain memorable. The younger bikers, inspired by their comrades, take a bold step forward to offer their surrender. Vince remains defiant, swearing and fighting back as Deputy Martinez fastens the cuffs around his wrists. "You're all finished," Vince sneers. "This matter will be brought to the attention of the club." "They will." The club, Marcus interjects with conviction, is on the brink of significant changes in leadership, provided any of us choose to remain involved. Jack observes the scene unfold with a sense of quiet contentment. "Sheriff, these individuals could really take advantage of that veterans program you spoke about last month. The one departing from Portland?" In agreement, Sheriff Wilson shares the same sentiment, believing they are genuinely committed to implementing changes. "We are," Morgan murmurs softly. "Esteemed sir, we." He grapples with the language, a lifetime of bottled feelings yearning to escape. "Calm down, soldier," Jack advises him softly. "Progress unfolds gradually." Emily steps beside her father, observing as Deputy Martinez guides a resisting Vince toward the patrol car. "You were aware, weren't you? Regarding their status as veterans?" "It was suspected," Jack clarifies. "Noticed it in the way they moved in their responses. Are there really men like that? They aren't lost due to any shortcomings. They wander aimlessly, seeking a piece of their past." Sheriff Wilson instructs the other bikers to take a seat on a nearby bench as he proceeds to make some calls. None of them make any effort to escape. Their stance reveals their military training now that the bravado of the bikers has dissipated. "Sir Collins?" Marcus shouts. "Thanks a lot. Not for the conflict, but for..." He makes a vague gesture. "For observing us, truly perceiving our essence." Jack gives a slight nod of recognition. The troops under your command. You simply lost track for a moment. Now you have the opportunity to recall. The morning has become more inviting, the lake's surface shimmering under the embrace of sunlight. The tumult of before has given way to a new form of unease. The weight of men confronting their decisions, their destinies, their chances for salvation. What comes next? Emily inquires softly. At this moment, Jack responds. These individuals are presented with an opportunity to rediscover their path. Real strength isn't in defeating an enemy, honey. It's about guiding them towards a brighter future. Sheriff Wilson makes his way back, sliding his phone into his pocket. I've received some exciting news. The program for veterans has availability. Judge Johnson is open to exploring alternative sentencing options, taking into account the circumstances and their service records. He gazes at the bikers, provided that everyone is prepared to put in the effort. Morgan and Marcus share a knowing look with their younger companions. The instant lingers, thick with potential. Absolutely, sir. They respond together. The reaction is instinctive, shaped by years of experience. As the morning progresses, Emily observes the changes occurring on her family's dock. The formidable steel vipers, once brimming with menace and bravado, have vanished, supplanted by individuals who, given time and support, may rediscover their former selves. And her father, the reserved fisherman who had once more demonstrated that genuine strength resides not in aggression, but in insight, observes everything with the calm gaze of someone who knows that not all triumphs necessitate conflict. The true battle, the quest for redemption, is merely starting now. The fluorescent lights of Silver Bay Marina police station threw stark shadows over weary expressions. Jack occupies a seat next to Emily in the waiting area, as Sheriff Wilson tends to the bikers. Beyond the glass partition, Morgan and Marcus sit in silence, their leather jackets appearing strangely incongruous beneath the harsh illumination. Mr. Collins, Deputy Martinez, strides in, clipboard in hand. We'll need your statement. Before Jack can respond, shouting erupts from the holding cells. Vince's voice resonates throughout the station, laced with bitterness and urgency. Do you believe this alters anything? Collins, your time is up. Your daughter has passed away. The club shall proceed. That will suffice. Sheriff Wilson's authority slices through the atmosphere. His authority resonates unmistakably, even through the walls. Jack sits comfortably, his demeanor calm in the face of danger. Emily observes his expression, looking for any hint of worry, yet discovers nothing but a tranquil confidence. He certainly persists, doesn't he? She inquires softly. Men of that sort, Jack responds. They confuse loudness with power. The more they raise their voices, the deeper they sink. Deputy Martinez fidgets restlessly. Given the seriousness of his threats, it would be prudent for us to consider protective measures. There's no need for that, Jack interjects softly. Vince has already lost all that he holds dear. The strength of his influence, the weight of his name, the mastery he holds over those around him. What about those threats? They are merely hollow echoes. Beyond the glass, Marcus is seen engaged in a quiet conversation with Sheriff Wilson. His posture has transformed entirely, shedding the swagger of a biker enforcer and adopting the respectful demeanor of a veteran addressing authority. Your father is correct. They are taken aback by Morgan's resonant voice. He lingers in the doorway, flanked by another deputy. Vince is done. The organization had grown weary of his guidance. Is this? He tilts his head in disbelief. This marks his conclusion. Jack observes the imposing figure with careful consideration. What about you? Morgan's shoulders droop a bit. Judge Johnson is presenting us with a proposal. Program for veterans as an alternative to incarceration. Guidance. Professional development. The complete set. He hesitates, grappling with what to say next. Could you possibly say something nice on my behalf? Convey our commitment to making a change. Emily observes her father with keen attention. This is the very man who, just hours earlier, had attempted to instill fear in her on the dock. Yet a change flickers in his gaze now. An opening, a newfound hope that previously eluded me. I've already taken care of it, Jack replies. I reached out to the program director while they were handling your application. An old SEAL friend of mine manages it. He awaits your arrival. Morgan's eyes grow wide. And you? Would you really do that for us? Following our actions? Your actions were misguided. Jack recognizes. What are you currently engaged in? Choosing to change? That takes more courage than any fight. The big man blinks rapidly. He turned away, concealing the unexpected glimmer of tears in his eyes. Sheriff Wilson stands next to him, a collection of documents held firmly in hand. All is in place, the sheriff declares. Judge Johnson approved the agreement. The two of you are set to depart for Portland tomorrow morning. He gazes at Morgan with a serious expression. Don't let me down for standing up for you. Absolutely not. The Morgan reacts on its own, military demeanor making a comeback. We will exceed your expectations. Through the glass, Marcus and the younger bikers are visible as they receive similar news. Their responses blend relief, disbelief, and a hint of what seems to be hope. Once more, Vince's voice echoes from the holding cells. However, it has diminished in strength now. In dire straits, the threats have diminished in strength. Transform into the powerless fury of an individual witnessing the disintegration of his reality. Your father, Sheriff Wilson, says Emily. He has provided these men with something they have been lacking for quite some time. What is that? She inquires. A moment to reconnect with their true selves, the sheriff responds. That's all that is needed. Jack rises, effortlessly capturing the gaze of everyone around him. The program is challenging, he informs Morgan. Stronger than any challenge posed by Vince. Yet it's the appropriate kind of challenging, the type that creates rather than destroys. Morgan acknowledges with a grave nod. I appreciate the service. Just like that, Jack concurs. You'll find organization, meaning, camaraderie, the genuine sort. This is the authentic version you've been waiting for. Marcus stands framed in the doorway. His expression revealed the burden of choices taken and journeys embarked upon. Mr. Collins, the rest. They are curious to see if you would be open to having a conversation with them. Regarding your approach to handling the situation. Upon exiting, Jack casts a quick look at Emily, who beams at him with support. Come on, Dad, they really need to hear this. The following hour unfolds in a gentle exchange of words. Jack finds himself in the company of the ex-bikers, discussing the journey of change, on discovering meaning following service, of creating a life that respects their training while transcending the confines of violence. Emily observes through the glass as stern faces begin to relax, as protective stances ease, as individuals who once posed a danger start to resemble the warriors they used to be. Sheriff Wilson stands next to her, watching intently. Your father is making a more positive impact here than any prison term ever could. He is presenting them with an alternative approach, Emily whispers gently, as he consistently demonstrated to me. Silence has enveloped the holding cells, leaving Vince's voice unheard. His menacing words have faded into quietude, the echo of a man facing the repercussions of his decisions. Yet, within the primary space, an entirely different essence permeates the atmosphere, the soft whispers of individuals reflecting on their past selves, unveiling the potential of their future selves, and discovering, in the most unexpected location, a route back to dignity. The change that started on a foggy dawn at Silver Bay Marina persists, led by a former SEAL who recognizes that the most significant triumphs frequently arise not from vanquishing an adversary, yet from assisting them in navigating their path back home. As dusk descends upon Silver Bay Marina, Jack and Emily emerge from the police station at last. The events of the day have drained their energy completely. Yet, an air of achievement lingers around. As they make their way to the truck, Marcus's voice rings out from behind them. Mr. Collins, please hold on. He jogs over, still clad in his steel Viper's cut, yet there's an unmistakable change in how it fits him now. There's a crucial piece of information you should be aware of. Jack pivots, noticing the worry etched on the face of the former enforcer. What is it exactly? Vince. He successfully placed a call just before they confiscated his phone, to his trusted Lieutenant Razor, waiting at the clubhouse. Marcus casts a furtive look around, anxiety etched on his face. Razor stands apart from us, never served, never had the privilege to lose honor. He's simply cruel, and he has around 15 followers who trail after him without question. Emily senses a subtle tension in her father beside her, even as his face stays composed. What is the duration? Marcus concedes that they are likely already en route. Razor is serious about his ambitions, and he's been seeking a reason to step in for Vince all along. This would provide him with that opportunity. This information. Jack absorbs the strategic thinking, already analyzing potential scenarios. What is their typical mode of operation? With sudden intensity, Morgan emerges from behind Marcus. Razor has a tendency to showcase others as examples, and following the events that unfolded here, he falls silent, a look of shame crossing his face. "Dad," Emily begins, but Jack softly raises a hand. Sheriff Wilson expresses the need for information, his tone steady, and then emphasizes the importance of preparation. Within the station, the news creates a wave of unease among the officers. Sheriff Wilson swiftly sets in motion the deployment of extra deputies, yet the resources are constrained in a small town. The sheriff unfolds a map on his desk, revealing that he has a total of 6 deputies. If they arrive in numbers, as you're implying, they certainly will. Morgan nods solemnly, and they prepare to strike with intensity. Razor has been anticipating an opportunity like this. Jack examines the map with great focus. It seems they will probably arrive from this direction. He gestures toward the primary thoroughfare. This is the sole strategy that provides them with protection right up until the final moment. Deputy Martinez suggests we evacuate the marina. "No," Jack asserts with conviction. "That's their intention, to push people away and demonstrate their dominance. We do not flee." Emily observes her father's expression, recognizing the strategist coming to life once more. "What's the plan, Dad?" "We utilize our resources," Jack responds, his tone embodying the calm confidence that stems from years of leading in battle. "Sheriff, your deputies are capable of addressing these matters. Morgan, how many of your team are prepared to join us?" Morgan stands tall. "Everyone here, sir. We have reached our decision. There's no turning back now." Marcus gives a thoughtful nod, signaling his agreement. "We are familiar with these individuals. Their thoughts, their movements. Assistance is available." Sheriff Wilson appears doubtful. "Are you really expecting me to place my trust in the same individuals who were stirring up chaos earlier today?" Jack sets the record straight. "I urge you to place your trust in those soldiers who have honored their commitment." A distinction exists. From the window of the holding cell, they catch a glimpse of Vince observing them. His expression was a blend of rage and apprehension. He is aware of what lies ahead, understands the chaos that Razor will unleash. Yet, his cautions would now go unheeded. Marcus estimates we have about 2 hours. They will bide their time until nightfall. Jack nods, his mind racing with ideas. "That's ample time." "Sheriff, I must place a few calls. I'm acquainted with a few individuals around, former teammates and operators who have a debt to me." "Father," Emily interrupts, "I will not be departing. I had no intention of asking you to." Jack responds, catching everyone off guard. "You are intimately familiar with every corner of that marina, each concealed nook, every opportunity we can seize. Your gaze is essential to me." The following hour unfolds in a whirlwind of motion. Jack's calls herald assurances of backing from surprising sources. Ex-special operators leading serene lives in the vicinity. Individuals who recognize the significance of opposing bullies and safeguarding their community. Morgan and Marcus collaborate with their old comrades, strategically aligning them according to their understanding of Razor's strategies. The novice bikers, driven by a desire to demonstrate their dedication to their newfound journey, immerse themselves in the preparations. It's no longer solely about protecting the marina. In a hushed moment, Morgan shares his thoughts with them. It's about demonstrating an alternative path, much like Mr. Collins illustrated for us. Emily takes charge of organizing the civilian volunteers, fishermen, dock workers, and those who are fed up with the intimidation they've faced. Her father's example has ignited a spark within the community, fostering a collective resolve to unite. "Your father," Marcus says to her as they check the radio communications. "He surpassed us in ways we didn't expect today. He stirred us from our slumber, rekindling the essence of battling for something genuine." The sun dips below the horizon at Silver Bay Marina, casting a vibrant tapestry of orange and purple across the sky. As shadows deepen, those who were adversaries mere hours before now ready themselves to unite, bound by a force more powerful than fear or coercion. Jack stands at the end of the main dock, observing the sunset with keen attention. Years of combat experience inform him that the impending confrontation will challenge every aspect, not only their defenses, but also their dedication to upholding principles. We maintain our position without intensifying the situation. He guides the assembled protectors. There are no heroes here, and no one is willing to take unnecessary chances. We aim to demonstrate that this community is united, not to incite conflict. The former Steel Vipers exchange knowing glances, their expressions reflecting the unwavering determination that once defined their lives as soldiers. An opportunity for redemption has been presented to them, and they are determined to seize it. As dusk descends upon Silver Bay Marina, a stillness envelops the scene, hinting at the tumult that lies ahead. Yet this time, as trouble charges down the path, it will encounter no easy target. A community will emerge, united and resolute, guided by a leader who recognizes that true victories are achieved not merely through strength, but through the bravery to unite for justice. The true challenge is just around the corner. The roar of motorcycles shatters the tranquility of the evening. Not the haphazard presence of a few bicycles, but the synchronized roar of a formidable force. Jack positions himself at his vantage point by the harbor view office, meticulously tallying the unique sounds of the engines. 20 bikes, he murmurs into his radio. Beyond our expectations. 23. Morgan's voice crackles to life. I can identify those engines. Razor gathered everyone, including the newcomers. Emily, seated in the marina's surveillance room, observes the oncoming headlights through the security cameras. They're advancing in a wedge formation, just as you predicted, Dad. Due to Razor's consistency, Marcus contributes from his stance, always needing to display his strength. The motorcycles surge into the marina parking lot, their beams slicing through the night. Razor embodies his name, lean and sharp-featured, his face marked by a tapestry of jagged scars. He silences his engine first, the abrupt stillness more menacing than the roar. Collins, Razor's voice echoes throughout the marina. Your presence is acknowledged. Confront what lies ahead. Jack's voice stays steady over the radio. All personnel, maintain your current stance. Allow them to take the initiative. Razor steps down, his crew trailing behind him. Their chains, thick and menacing, swung heavily alongside bats, while glimpses of more lethal weapons lurked, barely hidden beneath leather cuts. The crew disperses, aiming to secure the whole marina entrance. Razor exclaims, "You have brought shame upon our president." Presented our club in a less favorable light. That comes at a cost. Who is your president? As Jack emerges from the shadows, his voice pierces the silence, his hands resting effortlessly at his sides. Last I heard, Vince was facing some significant consequences. It appears that the club could benefit from a change in leadership. Razor's gaze sharpens. Is that what this is about? Are you considering stepping in? No, Jack replies, keeping it straightforward. It seems the Steel Vipers could benefit from a reminder of what true honor embodies. Razor hurls a glob of spit onto the ground. Your tone is reminiscent of those military fellows. See where loyalty led them, behind bars, betraying their own. Those individuals, Jack's voice resonates throughout the parking lot. They recalled their true essence, champions, guardians, not mere ruffians cloaked in insignias. Razor gestures to his crew to fan out more widely, constantly delivering the oratory. This is a matter of business, my friend. Your actions have damaged our reputation. Now we inflict pain upon you. This is your final opportunity. Jack cautions softly. Depart at this moment, while the opportunity still exists. Razor chuckles. The noise echoed sharply in the shadows. What else? Are you really going to take us all on like you did before, Vince? You have some talent, I'll acknowledge that. Yet you are merely one individual. Is he really? A voice emerges from behind the Steel Vipers. Morgan emerged from the darkness, flanked by the younger bikers who had decided to align themselves with him. They've removed their Steel Vipers' cuts, standing tall in their military bearing. What is this? Razor scoffs. Do the betrayers wish to meet their end before anyone else? Additional silhouettes materialize from the shadows. Sheriff Wilson and his deputies, local fishermen, and others moved with the calm assurance that stems from extensive experience in special operations as Jack's former teammates responded to his call. Look, Razor. Jack speaks with a serene demeanor. Your vulnerability has consistently been evident. You believe that power arises from fear and intimidation. Yet true strength? He motions toward the individuals encircling the group. True power arises from unity, from supporting one another. Razor's men fidget, a palpable tension in the air as they realize they are encircled. The strategic edge they believe they possessed has dissipated. This is your chance, Jack goes on, to transform, to improve oneself, as your brothers decided to be. They aren't brothers, Razor growls. They hold no significance. We were warriors. Morgan's voice resonates with power now. In times past, we were vipers, and we decide to take up arms once more. The atmosphere thickens as Razor's men cast anxious glances at their leader, hesitation evident in their every action. They arrived with the anticipation of discovering a single individual to conquer. Instead, they discovered a whole community standing together in opposition. It's the final opportunity, Jack insists. Feel free to leave those cuts right here. Step away, discover a more promising route. Alternatively, you might want to take a chance. However, I must caution you. His voice lowers a notch, imbued with the gravity of battle-hardened experience. There are sharpshooters positioned on the rooftop of the marina. Officers clad in riot gear are stationed strategically, and there are plenty of former special operations personnel present to ensure this becomes quite uncomfortable for you. Razor's hand glides toward his waistband. You're just pretending. Suddenly, red dots materialize on his chest and those of his key lieutenants. The communication is unmistakable. I don't bluff, Jack says softly. I haven't done that. One of Razor's men, a younger prospect, abruptly removes his cut and tosses it to the ground. Next, another, and yet another. As if a line of dominoes toppling, the group's illusion of togetherness shatters. Razor stands isolated, his expression twisted in a mix of fury and incredulity. You have passed away, each and every one of you. The club is set to... The club, Marcus interjects, moving closer is finished. This iteration certainly is. He gazes at the steadfast members who remain by his side. We were meant to be brothers. Instead, we transformed into troublemakers. It's time to select a more effective path. The evening atmosphere resonates with the sharp thuds of leather striking the earth. One by one, Razor's army yields, not to sheer power, but to the promise of a brighter future. Only Razor stands resolute, his hand poised just above his hidden weapon. Jack observes him with a steady gaze, recognizing the urgency reflected in his eyes. It's your decision, Jack says gently. However, make your selection with great care. There are certain errors that cannot be undone. The marina holds its breath, poised for Razor's choice, as the fate of the steel vipers teeters on the edge. Razor's hand quivers close to his weapon, as his reality crumbles around him. The crimson dots from the sniper scopes hold firm on his chest, yet it's not merely the looming threat of violence that shatters him. It's the profound silence of his comrades, the sight of abandoned wounds strewn across the earth, the dawning awareness that his authority was but a mirage. It's not possible. His voice trembles. This isn't possible. The club means the world. We are the Steel Vipers. We are insignificant. One of his former lieutenants interjects, removing his own insignia, just frightened individuals masquerading as something we aren't. Jack advances, each step deliberate and calculated. Do you have any idea what I perceive when I gaze upon you, Razor? I observe an individual who has never experienced the support of belief from others. A person who has constructed his entire sense of self on the foundation of fear, as he has yet to grasp the essence of earning respect. Razor's hand finally releases its grip on the weapon, his shoulders drooping in defeat. You have no understanding of who I am. I understand that you're feeling exhausted, Jack murmurs, weary of constantly being the greatest danger in the space, weary of remaining vigilant, weary of existing without dignity. Sheriff Wilson approaches, handcuffs at the ready, but still holstered. There remains an option here, my boy. Select the appropriate option. Emily observes from her vantage point as a shift occurs in Razor's demeanor. The rigidity, the manufactured resilience, shatters like frost under the sun's warmth. I have never, Razor's voice falters. This was never my desire. I simply yearned for a place to call my own. You can, Morgan says, stepping forward, but not in this way, not through fear. Marcus accompanies him. We will transform the club into something greater, a place that guides veterans on their journey back, rather than allowing them to drift further away. Razor surveys his old crew, now devoid of their identities, appearing both adrift and strangely liberated. And what will become of me? It all hinges on your choice, Jack responds. There's an opportunity for one additional participant in the veterans program. If you're ready to put in the effort, truly commit to it. The night air is thick with tension as Razor grapples with the decision before him. At last, with trembling hands, he takes off his cut. The leather lands on the ground with a gentle thud, its sound reverberating through the marina. I'm exhausted, he confesses, his voice almost a breath. I'm utterly exhausted. Sheriff Wilson advances, yet Jack lifts a hand to halt him. He moves toward Razor with deliberate slowness. Before anything else unfolds, there's an important task you must undertake. What is that? Apologize to my daughter, not out of fear, not because you've been discovered, but because it is the honorable course of action. Emily inches nearer as Razor pivots to meet her gaze. The figure who once inspired dread now appears diminutive, all too human. Apologies escape his lips, and in that moment, his voice resonates with an authenticity that has been absent until now. For all things, I was mistaken. Emily nods, embracing the apology with poise. Thanks a lot. The tension that has clutched the marina starts to fade away. The deputies under Sheriff Wilson take charge of the formal surrenders, as Jack's former teammates gather the abandoned weapons. What comes next? A younger biker inquires, appearing adrift without his cut. At this moment, Jack responds. Everyone has the opportunity to reconnect with their true selves, free from the labels that seek to define them. Some of you may opt for the veterans program. While some may explore various routes, each of you has the opportunity to make a choice once more. Morgan and Marcus start collecting the leftover pieces, forming a neat pile. It carries a sense of ritual, reminiscent of warriors sheathing their swords after a prolonged battle. Mr. Collins, Marcus exclaims. Could you assist us in setting them ablaze? It seems like it ought to be you. Jack gazes at the heap of leather, once symbols of fear and intimidation, now reshaped into a beacon of redemption. No, he finally says. This must originate from you. Embrace your decision. Embrace your fresh start. As the cuts start to smolder, their flames stretching toward the darkened sky, Emily steps up to stand next to her father. Were you aware it would conclude like this? He concedes, no. Yet, I held on to hope. At times, individuals simply require guidance towards an alternative path. The flames rise, devouring what once was, illuminating the path to a fresh beginning. Surrounding it are individuals who sought confrontation but discovered salvation instead, their features aglow with flames that consume more than mere leather and insignias. Razor stands alongside Sheriff Wilson, discreetly sharing names, dates, and information that will aid in dismantling the club's criminal elements. It transcends mere surrender. It embodies atonement. We're going to need assistance, Morgan remarks, observing the flames. To reconstruct, to set things straight. Jack gives a slight nod. It will be yours. Yet the true effort originates from within yourself, each and every one of you. The night envelops them, yet it no longer brims with danger and foreboding. Instead, there's an aura of potential, of avenues emerging where previously there were only barriers. In the flickering flames that devour the remnants of their history, these individuals start to catch fleeting visions of their potential selves. Dawn unfolds at Silver Bay Marina, the morning sun stretching its rays to create elongated shadows over the marina, a place where, merely hours before, everything had shifted. The scent of charred leather hangs in the atmosphere as Jack positions himself at the dock's edge, observing the initial fishing boats embark for the day. Emily approaches him, balancing 2 cups of coffee with ease. Mike mentioned that the early charter has been canceled. Following the events of last night, they'll return, Jack remarks, taking the coffee. Bravery leaves a lasting impression, while fear tends to fade from memory. The rhythmic echo of boots against the wooden floor captures their focus. Morgan and Marcus draw near, their appearance unusual without their usual styles, yet they exude a sense of genuine authenticity. Here come the transports, Marcus announces softly. We're headed to Portland for the veterans program. Razor as well, Morgan adds. He has remained silent since last evening, a distinct kind of silence, as if he's contemplating rather than scheming. Jack acknowledges, grasping the importance. The most challenging battles are those we wage within our own minds. The sound of vehicles nearing prompts them to turn. 2 unmarked vans glide into the marina parking lot, shadowed by Sheriff Wilson's cruiser. One by one, the former Steel Vipers step out from their temporary confines, squinting in the bright morning light. Mr. Collins, a younger member, calls out, pausing briefly before stepping forward. We were curious if, after completing the program, we might have the opportunity to return. Not as Vipers, but as integral members of the community, Jack completes his thought. Your actions will determine the outcome of this opportunity. Sheriff Wilson approaches, his expression revealing the weariness of a lengthy night. Judge Johnson approved all the arrangements, including those for Razor, although there will be some extra conditions he must fulfill. Emily observes the ex-gang members as they start to board the vans. At this moment, there is an absence of bravado, a lack of pretense. Just individuals confronting the possibility of transformation, some filled with trepidation, others harboring measured optimism. "Dad," she exclaims unexpectedly, "share it with them." Jack grasps it right away. The marina is consistently in search of reliable assistance. He beckons to the men who stand ready, individuals familiar with vessels who grasp the essence of discipline. After you've put in the effort and executed it well, there will be a spot for you. The effect of his words is evident in their expressions. For those accustomed to seizing what they desire, the proposition of genuine labor and authentic connection resonates profoundly. "Would you place your trust in us?" Razor inquires from the van's entrance, his voice breaking the silence for the first time since he gave himself up. Following all that has transpired, "Trust is something that must be earned," Jack responds, "yet everyone should have the opportunity to prove themselves worthy of it." As the vans get ready to leave, Marcus glances back one final time. "Thanks a lot. Not solely for hindering us, but for," he grapples with expressing himself, "for revealing the potential within us." Morgan completes the task for him. Who we were meant to be from the very beginning. The vans drive off, taking with them individuals who came as dangers and depart as opportunities. Sheriff Wilson observes their departure, a subtle shake of his head accompanying his thoughts. He says to Jack, "When Mike called about bikers causing trouble, I never imagined it would conclude in this way." "They certainly did not," Jack replies. "That's the beauty of Crossroads. The uncertainty of which path will unfold is what makes it intriguing." As the morning unfolds, whispers travel swiftly through Silver Bay Marina. The narrative unfolds with every recounting, revealing how a solitary figure's understated resilience transformed foes into friends, how a collective united in solidarity, and how unexpected redemption found its way to those least anticipating it. Fishermen from the area visit the marina, with some providing encouragement while others seek to gain insight. Jack narrates the tale with clarity, avoiding any adornment, highlighting not his own contributions, but the bravery required to embrace transformation. "The true challenge begins now," he says to Emily, as they observe another boat setting sail. Transformation isn't solely defined by a single night's choices, it's about the continuous journey that unfolds each day thereafter. Mike Henderson strides forward, documents in hand. "The insurance company will have inquiries," he remarks, yet a smile graces his face. "It's definitely worthwhile. For the first time in years, I feel like this place genuinely belongs to the community once more." "It always has," Jack responds. Some individuals simply required a gentle nudge. The morning progresses, revealing the familiar patterns of life at the marina. Yet, there's an unmistakable shift in the atmosphere, a feeling of potential, of obstacles dismantled, of scars starting to mend. "Do you believe they will succeed?" Emily inquires, her gaze following the vans as they fade away into the horizon. "Can it truly be accomplished?" Jack ponders the question with great thoughtfulness. Some will, others won't. Transformation can be challenging, yet they possess something now that was previously absent. What is that? He expresses it with a quiet assurance: hope. At times, that can be all you need to begin. The sun ascends, dispelling the remnants of the morning fog. A new day dawns at Silver Bay Marina, yet it feels like a transformed place. More resilient, not due to barriers erected, but through connections forged among individuals who previously regarded one another as adversaries. In Portland, a program aimed at guiding lost soldiers back home marks the beginning of true transformation. 1 week following the encounter at Silver Bay Marina, Jack finds himself holding the first letter. It's inscribed on plain notebook paper, the handwriting meticulous and intentional, as if the writer is savoring each word to ensure precision. "Dear Mr. Collins," he reads to Emily as they get ready for the morning's charter boat. "The initial week of the program has been successfully wrapped up. It's more challenging than anything Vince has ever requested from us, yet it embodies the right kind of spirit. As Morgans lead the morning physical training, Marcus is busy coordinating support groups for veterans, even attempting to gather razors. Emily takes a moment to reflect on her task. They all wrote. Each one, Jack confirms, showing her the stack of letters. Various viewpoints, identical narrative. They are reflecting on their past selves, contemplating the potential they always had before the Steel Vipers. The marina has transformed. Where there was once tension at the sight of approaching motorcycles, now a sense of curiosity prevails. Whispers have circulated regarding the events of that night, about how the insight of one individual transformed foes into friends. Sheriff Wilson arrives with the latest news. I received a message from the program director, who mentioned that he has never witnessed a group put in so much effort towards transformation. Even those who were once hesitant are beginning to change their minds. They required a purpose, Jack articulates, deftly coiling the rope with a skillful touch. A purpose that transcends their individual existence. The sheriff carries on with his account of the missions. Do you recall those previous MC chapters that were causing you concern? The individuals you suspected could respond in kind? Jack acknowledges with a nod, his hands continuing their diligent task without pause. It appears that your previous SEAL companions engaged in some discussions with them. Truly captivating discussions. Out of the blue, there seems to be a newfound interest in veteran outreach programs. Emily notices the faint smile on her father's face. Your colleagues have been quite occupied. Jack expresses it plainly. Individuals aspire to improve. At times, they simply require the assurance that it can be achieved. A recognizable rumble draws near the marina, yet it feels distinct this time. 2 motorcycles glide in, their riders adorned in pristine leather jackets, devoid of any gang symbols. Those who had been away from the Steel Vipers during the clash begin to grasp the transformation that has taken hold of their brothers. Jack stands at the edge of the docks, his demeanor easy yet poised for action. The riders step down from their mounts, take off their helmets, and move forward with clear hesitation. One mentions that they heard what transpired. Have you heard that our brothers discovered an alternative approach? Another path exists, Jack responds. The question is, do you have an interest in discovering it? Indeed, they are. As they sip their coffee in the Harborview office, Jack recounts the story once more, not as a story of loss, but as one of change. He reveals the letters, allowing them to witness the transformation of their once familiar companions. It's a challenge, he explains to them. Transformation may not always be easy, but it holds great value. By afternoon, 2 additional bikes are making their way to Portland. 2 more journeys shifting toward redemption instead of ruin. Mike Henderson observes their departure. When I reached out to you regarding the issues that morning, I genuinely believed we might be fortunate enough to avoid any fatalities. I never thought we would find ourselves in a position to save lives instead. We didn't save them, Jack clarifies softly. We demonstrated to them the path to their own salvation. The day welcomes an influx of visitors. Local business owners, once gripped by the fear of the Steel Vipers, gather to express their gratitude to Jack. Young veterans who have heard the tale inquire about the initiative. Every dialogue contributes another strand to the intricate fabric of community being reimagined. Emily discovers her father at sunset, positioned at the end of the dock where everything started. Another letter arrived, she remarks, extending an envelope. Jack reads it silently from Razor this time, his expression contemplative. He admits, after a long pause, that he's having a hard time, yet he is making an effort. Claims he was unaware that strength could manifest in different forms. Until you revealed it to him, Emily adds. Until he decided to acknowledge it, Jack corrects. That's the true triumph in this situation. It wasn't about us confronting them. It was about their decision to advocate for themselves. The twilight descends upon Silver Bay Marina, draping the water in hues of gold and purple. Where fear once reigned, possibility now flourishes. Where there was once division, a new dawn of understanding is emerging. A young veteran strides toward Jack, a mix of uncertainty and resolve in his demeanor. "Sir, I learned of the events that transpired regarding the program. I've been facing challenges since my release, and I was considering the possibility." "Let's go," Jack says with a friendly tone. "Let's discuss it. The first thing to understand is that you are not alone." Thus, a new tale unfolds. Another life embraces hope instead of succumbing to despair. In Portland, ex-members of the Steel Vipers strive to reconstruct their lives. In Silver Bay Marina, a community flourishes through solidarity instead of apprehension. On a serene dock where their journey started, a father and daughter persist in their endeavors, understanding that often the most significant triumphs arise not from vanquishing foes, but from transforming them into allies. The evolution persists. Each decision, each moment, each existence unfolds uniquely. 1 month after the night that transformed Silver Bay Marina, Emily arrives at the marina to discover her father engrossed in yet another pile of letters. The morning sun sparkles on the water as she enters the office to join him. Morgan's group has successfully wrapped up their inaugural month. Jack speaks to her, his gaze fixed elsewhere. The program director announces that they are achieving unprecedented milestones in progress. Marcus has begun guiding newer veterans, even those still honing their skills. The correspondence unfolds a narrative of change. Ex-Steel Vipers are acquiring new skills, seeking therapy, and mending relationships with families they had distanced themselves from. Yet, it is the subtle nuances that draw Emily's focus. Morgan instructing fellow veterans on boat upkeep, Marcus coordinating support networks, Razor discreetly assisting newcomers in their transition. She notes that they are undergoing more than mere changes. They are assisting others in making transformations as well. A truck arrives at the scene, delivering Mike Henderson's latest security system. However, rather than the typical installers, 2 recognizable figures emerge. Former Steel Vipers who have finished their initial program phase and opted to acquire technical skills. "Mr. Collins," one exclaims, standing with a newfound confidence. "We are committed to fulfilling that pledge regarding genuine effort." Jack observes the meticulous way they handle their gear, each piece treated with expert attention. Without bravado or fear, there exists a calm assurance and determination. "How is life outside the service treating you?" "Distinct," the man responds with sincerity. "Improved, yet still challenging at times, but definitely improved. The marina has undergone a remarkable transformation. Where there was once tension and wariness, a sense of community now flourishes." The event involving the Steel Vipers had revealed to everyone the power of unity, a lesson that remained etched in their memories. Sheriff Wilson comes bearing additional news. "I received news from Portland. The program is growing. Your group is being utilized as a benchmark for other chapters and clubs. It appears that news is circulating regarding the events that took place here." Jack gives a knowing nod, his expression unchanging. Individuals yearn for transformation. They merely require a glimpse of its feasibility. The police radio buzzes to life with a call that echoes a common scenario: bikers stirring up trouble at a nearby establishment. Just as the tension builds, an unexpected voice interjects. It was Marcus who had come back to town for a visit. "I've got this one, Sheriff," he states with clarity. Perhaps they would pay attention to someone who has experienced it firsthand. Emily observes her father's demeanor while they listen to Marcus negotiate with the bikers, weaving his personal narrative into a path toward comprehension. Only compassion, no intimidation, as one experienced individual extends a hand to those who have strayed from their path. He excels in that area. Jack watches in silence, superior to his previous skills in instilling fear. By afternoon, the security system is in place, and the former Vipers are enjoying coffee with Mike Henderson, chatting about possible future projects. Their leather jackets now showcase an array of distinct patches, not symbols of gangs, but emblems of labor unions and organizations supporting veterans. Mike confesses to Jack, "I never imagined I'd witness this day." The very individuals who once sought to seize control of the marina are now standing guard to safeguard it. A motorcycle roars into the parking lot, yet no one flinches now. Morgan has returned, just as he promised. His bike now adorned with emblems of veteran support rather than gang insignias. Mr. Collins greets him, lifting his helmet off. Do you have something to share with me? He reveals photographs of the program's latest endeavor, a community center constructed by former gang members, a space where veterans can discover support and a sense of purpose. In a single image, Razor collaborates with others, imparting the construction skills he acquired through the program. Morgan explains that it has transcended beyond just us now. It's about ensuring that no other veteran feels so adrift that they believe joining a gang is their sole choice. The day unfolds, revealing further indications of transformation. Local business owners who once regarded the Steel Vipers with apprehension now collaborate with program graduates, providing jobs and opportunities. Young veterans in search of direction discover mentors in the most surprising locations. Emily assists her father in getting ready for the final charter of the day, observing as he demonstrates the fundamentals of fishing to a group of veterans. Included are ex-gang members from various clubs attracted by the tale of the events that unfolded at Silver Bay Marina. Do you understand what true transformation looks like? She inquires of her father as they labor together. It's not merely that they ceased their unlawful activities, it's that they began to embrace leadership roles. Jack nods, a look of pride shining on his face. That is precisely what they were destined to become. They simply overlooked it for a moment. As dusk settles in, Marcus arrives back from his triumphant intervention. He steps onto the dock, observing the sunset with a fresh perspective. A month ago, he acknowledges, he would have dealt with that situation through intimidation. At last, I grasp the lesson you were aiming to impart to us. True strength lies not in instilling fear in others, it's about guiding them to discover their own power. Jack completes his task. The harbor lights start to twinkle, casting shimmering reflections on the tranquil water. In Portland, more lives are being restored. In Silver Bay Marina, a community thrives and evolves with resilience. On a tranquil dock where chaos once loomed large, serenity has now established its presence. The journey that started with an individual's defiance against oppression has evolved into a movement of greater significance. A collective of veterans aiding fellow veterans, a community rallying around one another, individuals striving to become their best selves. As the shadows deepen, the lights of Silver Bay Marina illuminate the night with an unparalleled brilliance. 3 months following the pivotal confrontation that transformed Silver Bay Marina, Jack addresses a gathering at the recently opened Veterans Support Center in Portland. The structure, formerly a dilapidated warehouse, now serves as a symbol of change, restored by the very hands that once thrived on intimidation and dread. He addresses the gathered veterans, former gang members, and community leaders, saying, "I didn't plan any of this. I was certain there had to be a more effective approach." Morgan stands beside him at the podium, his imposing figure now embodying a new form of resilience. Mr. Collins demonstrated that true strength lies not in instilling fear in others. It's about elevating those around us. The hub teems with energy. In a single room, Marcus facilitates a support group for veterans navigating the challenges of transitioning to civilian life. In another instance, Razor imparts vocational skills, his calm demeanor a striking departure from his past unpredictability. Do you realize what the true wonder is? Emily softly speaks to her father while they explore the facility. It's not merely that they transformed, it's that they are also inspiring others to transform as well. Everywhere you look, the evidence is present. Ex-members of the Steel Vipers collaborate with fellow veterans, exchanging tales and providing encouragement. The former clubhouse of the gang has been repurposed into a job training center, its walls adorned with tales of achievement rather than menacing emblems. Sheriff Wilson, present at the center's grand opening, discreetly beckons Jack to one side. Do you recall when you mentioned that a few of them would succeed while others wouldn't? The figures have been revealed. 87% success rate. No one has ever witnessed anything quite like this. A disturbance at the entrance captures their focus. Vince, having recently been released and enrolled in the program, stands uncertainly at the threshold. His previous confidence has vanished, giving way to doubt. The Morgan is the first to approach him. "Greetings, dear brother. You have returned at last." This time, it truly feels like home. Vince's gaze locks with Jack's from across the room. "I never imagined, following all that has transpired." Each individual is entitled to an opportunity to rediscover their path. Jack states plainly, the day reveals itself with further insights. Local businesses are seeing a rise in the hiring of veterans, with a notable decline in crime rates. An increasing number of gang members are opting for rehabilitation instead of retaliation. Various motorcycle clubs are inquiring about how to initiate their own transformation programs. Marcus presents data from their outreach initiatives. We have established communication with 15 additional clubs across 3 states. 10 individuals have already launched their own initiatives to support veterans. At the heart of the workshop, Razor collaborates with a group of young veterans, imparting the trade skills he has honed over the years. His face is etched with new lines, not born of anger or violence, but shaped by concentration and a sense of purpose. He confides in Jack during a break, expressing his surprise at his own teaching abilities. For years, I believed that true strength was about diminishing others. I've come to realize that true strength lies in empowering others to find their own strength. Emily observes everything, meticulously recording the transformations for the center's archives. Do you recall the moment they first arrived at the marina? She inquired of her father. How distinct everything seemed. Same individuals, Jack clarifies softly. Simply an alternative route. The afternoon ushers in a flurry of visitors. Representatives from veteran organizations were struck by the program's success. Individuals with past gang affiliations looking for direction as they embark on their personal transformation journeys. Every dialogue contributes a new strand to the intricate fabric of transformation being crafted. Morgan assembles everyone for the formal dedication ceremony of the center. 3 months prior, we found ourselves adrift. I believed that instilling fear equated to earning respect. Then, one individual revealed a different perspective, demonstrating that true strength lies in serving others rather than in exerting dominance over them. The audience hangs on Morgan's every word, his voice resonating with the depth of his journey. The events at Silver Bay Marina transcended a mere clash. They served as a poignant reminder of our true selves and the essence of our intended purpose. Jack remains still at the rear, observing how his simple act of resilience against bullying spreads outward, impacting more lives than he ever thought conceivable. Your father, Sheriff Wilson, tells Emily that he didn't merely halt a gang that day. He ignited a movement. The ceremony wraps up with an unexpected revelation. The center's job training initiative has successfully obtained funding for expansion, enabling them to assist a greater number of veterans in their transition to civilian life. As dusk settles in, Jack stands once more on the rooftop of the center, gazing out at the sprawling city of Portland. Behind him, the vibrant sounds of connection and intent swell from the building. Laughter, conversation, the lively hum of individuals discovering their paths in unison. Razor joins him, having achieved 3 months of sobriety and taking on the role of maintenance supervisor at the center. Do you ever ponder certain thoughts? How near we were to overlooking all of this. If you had simply been what we assumed, just another person we could easily manipulate. Yet I wasn't, Jack murmurs softly, and you weren't what you believed yourself to be either. The sun dips below the horizon in Portland, stretching shadows across the urban landscape. Within those shadows, lives are being reconstructed, paths are being altered, and strength is increasingly discovered in service rather than in fear. In Silver Bay Marina, where the journey commenced, the lights continue to glow brilliantly amidst the shadows, guiding those in search of their way back home. Half a year has passed since that fateful morning, and as the sun rises, it casts its light over Silver Bay Marina. Jack and Emily find themselves at their cherished place on the dock, gazing at the sun as it ascends over the tranquil waters. The marina has transformed not only in its physical aspects, featuring upgraded security systems and enhanced facilities, but also in more profound and significant ways. It's hard to fathom that 6 months have passed, Emily remarks, as she hands her father his morning coffee. At times it seems as though it was just a moment ago. Jack nods, his gaze fixed on the horizon as fishing boats set out for their morning journeys. Among them are ships manned by ex-Steel Vipers, individuals who have exchanged their rugged pasts for genuine labor on the sea. The sound of motorcycles draws near, yet there's no longer any tension in the air. Morgan guides a cohort of veterans on their monthly journey, a therapeutic initiative he established that merges motorcycle upkeep with camaraderie among peers. "Good morning, Mr. Collins," he exclaims, as he secures his bike. The leather jacket he wears now proudly displays the emblem of the Veterans Support Program he actively contributes to. "I have some new recruits here who are eager to meet you." The riders step down, a blend of seasoned individuals grappling with the shift to civilian life and ex-gang members in pursuit of a more promising direction. Among them is Vince, now 4 months into his recovery, his face reflecting the quiet transformations that accompany the discovery of true purpose. "It's still strange," Vince confides softly to Jack. "Returning to this place, reflecting on the past, observing the present transformation. Is it good weird or bad weird?" Jack inquires. "Quite good indeed." The dawn breaks, revealing the comforting patterns of the day ahead. Marcus arrives bearing progress reports from the Portland Center, where the success stories keep growing in number. Razor, currently leading the vocational training program at the center, shares news about their most recent graduation class. Sheriff Wilson participates in the morning briefing, a fresh custom that unites law enforcement, veteran support services, and community leaders. He proudly announces the latest statistics. Criminal activity has decreased by 70% across 3 states, while veteran employment has risen by 40%, and it all began right here on this dock. Emily observes a group of former Vipers instructing local children on boat safety. Men who once instilled fear in the community, now transformed into its guardians. She notes that they transformed not only themselves, everything was transformed. The day unfolds with further signs of change. The former Steel Vipers clubhouse, now transformed into a community center, serves as a venue for veteran support meetings. The parking lot that was once a site of threats now serves as a venue for job fairs and family gatherings. Jack guides a group of veterans in fundamental fishing techniques, his calm instruction embodying the same commanding presence that once transformed foes into friends. His students include former gang members from various clubs, attracted by the tale of events that unfolded at Silver Bay Marina. "Do you understand what true transformation looks like?" Morgan observes, taking in the unfolding scene. "It's not merely that we cease to be our former selves. It's that we ultimately transformed into the individuals we were destined to be from the very beginning." As the afternoon draws near, they come together for an intimate ceremony. The Marina's new Veteran Support Office is being inaugurated, financed by the very individuals who previously posed a threat to seize control of it. Marcus advances to share his thoughts. "Half a year ago, we arrived with the belief that true power lay in instilling fear in others. We made a mistake. Mr. Collins demonstrated that true strength lies in elevating others, in dedicating ourselves to a cause greater than our individual selves." The gathering features individuals from all walks of life, transformed former gang members, entrepreneurs from the community, law enforcement officials, and veterans on their path back home. Every individual holds a fragment of the narrative. Each embodies a strand in the fabric of change. Razor, clad in his work attire instead of gang colors, presents his own account. "We believed we were invincible. I believed we were resilient. Yet true strength? The true power lay within the individual who stood solitary on this dock, perceiving in us a potential we were blind to recognize in ourselves." The sun starts to lower over Silver Bay Marina, casting vibrant hues across the sky that feel somehow more vivid, brimming with potential. Jack stands at the edge of the dock where it all began, his daughter beside him, observing the light dance upon waters that have witnessed countless transformations. "All of this was done by you, Dad," Emily whispers gently. "No," Jack corrects her, observing the community they've cultivated as it flourishes, fortifies, and motivates. They accomplished it. They simply required a gentle nudge to reconnect with their true selves. The evening descends upon the harbor, yet the lights continue to shine vibrantly in the community center, in the Veteran Support Office, and in the homes where families have joyfully come together once more. The shadows that once loomed over this place have been reshaped into a radiant symbol of hope, a tribute to the strength found in recognizing the potential in others, even when they struggle to see it within themselves. As darkness envelops Silver Bay Marina, the stars shimmer upon the tranquil waters, revealing a profound truth that originated with one man's defiance against oppression. True strength is found not in the ability to tear down, but in the bravery to assist others in their restoration. What started as a tale of bikers troubling a fisherman's daughter has evolved into a profound narrative, showcasing the remarkable ability of dignity, respect, and the steadfast conviction that one can always opt for a more righteous journey. Silver Bay Marina exemplifies how profound transformations can stem from a solitary act of bravery, illustrating that genuine strength is found not in instilling fear, but in guiding others to rediscover their true selves. Coming up, there are 2 more exceptional narratives displayed for you. If this one strikes a chord, you won't want to miss out on these. Simply click to explore them.